Okay, so we're going to start off this lecture with embezzlement, the crime of embezzlement. The crime of embezzlement is a unique crime, even though ultimately all it is theft. When we arrest someone for embezzlement, they're charged in the same manner and given the same punishment and penalty, most typically as theft, grand theft or petty theft. So you could actually have a misdemeanor embezzlement or a felony embezzlement if the amount of the property, goods, or services stolen is over $950. That would be $950.01 to constitute a felony or more. So what is embezzlement? Embezzlement is a unique crime in the theft prism, as it were, that deals with trust. That's what it's all about, is trust, or a fiduciary. We use that word. In a way, it makes it even more significant because there is that trust. Now, what a lot of people don't understand is that embezzlement can occur in different venues. Everyone thinks of embezzlement as the company CEO taking all the money out of the company and then running to wherever, some Pacific island, and living the rest of his life. And that certainly can be embezzlement. But embezzlement is more than that. Some of the other ways it could happen, besides an employee-employer setting, is, say, a family member. So I get a lot of cases where family members will steal from their relatives, especially the ones that are most vulnerable, say our elderly folks. So say we have grandma. Grandma isn't able to get around that much. Grandma has macular degeneration or some other sort of sight impairment. She needs help paying her bills, writing checks, maybe getting on the computer and doing online purchases and such. So the friendly little grandson or son, in some cases, doesn't matter who, some family member, or it could be just a friend or an acquaintance. Out of the goodness of their heart, I'll come in and I'll help you. We'll make sure you get the help you need, and I'll help you pay your bills and all that. But unfortunately, what happens all too often, and it usually starts very small, the person will start helping themselves to the money, maybe writing a check to themselves. Even if they have the victim sign the check, if they're filling it out, maybe the victim can't see or doesn't understand what they're signing. Or if you're online and you're paying your own bills or buying things with the victim's account, because the victim isn't able to access the computer and such. So anyhow, if a person does that, they've been trusted. They've been trusted to do the right thing. The victim trusts them to pay their bills online, their gas bill, electric bill. The victim trusts them to write a check. If that person, family member, acquaintance, friend, whoever it may be, decides to start helping themselves to the victim's money without asking specific permission, then that's embezzlement. It's pure and simple. Okay. Another one that we commonly see, even though it has some legal issue with it, but it is in fact embezzlement. Say your friend comes up to you and says, "Hey, I want to go visit my mom in Los Angeles, and my car's a piece of garbage. Can I borrow your car? And I'll have it back to you, tonight." And you say, "Sure, yeah, please. Just be careful with the car. Make sure you bring it back tonight because I have school in the morning." So the person takes your car, drives to Los Angeles, and here it is 10 days later. You still don't have the car. You've called them. They won't answer your calls. Your car's in the wind. That is not actually a theft per se. That isn't like grand theft auto per se, because you gave the person the car voluntarily. However, you trusted them to return the car within a certain amount of time. So that would certainly be considered a vehicle embezzlement. Now, vehicles are very unique. There has to be, for you to be able to file a vehicle embezzlement, you have to have the victims send a registered letter, has to be responded to within 10 days. If not, then we can enter the vehicle in law enforcement as an embezzled vehicle. But anyhow, these are just different ways you could commit embezzlement. I'm working a case right now where a guy goes around and takes a whole bunch of money for wholesale vehicles. He's done it to many, many, many victims, and he just keeps the money. He doesn't purchase cars. Sometimes he does, but in a lot of cases he doesn't. If he uses that money for his own means or other means, one of the crimes to consider is embezzlement, because he was trusted with that money to go out and get you these vehicles wholesale, and then you're basically waiting for that vehicle to be delivered. So anyhow, I just wanted you guys to understand what embezzlement is. Think of embezzlement as a type of theft that involves trust. And if you end up with this on your rap sheet, conviction of embezzlement, people know you're not trustworthy. I mean, certainly theft is bad, but I think there's a big difference if you steal a steak because you're starving, as opposed to embezzlement. You're taking something that you were entrusted with, and you convert it to your own use. Okay? So anyhow, again, embezzlement is prescribed as theft. For my companies out there, my businesses, my organizations, whether you're a mom and pop shop or a multi-billion-dollar company, a lot of people don't understand what to look for in embezzlement crooks, a suspect. I arrest a ton of these people. And let me tell you, they all have a very, very similar character, a similar type. Not race or anything like that. Even though sex, there is an issue with sex. I will say this, that in my experience, and I've been doing this 18 years, specifically working fraud for 18 years, and probably about 500 embezzlement arrests. Most of my suspects have been women. It seems that right around maybe 80%, just shooting from the hip here. Now, why is that? I have a theory. That's all it is. Women are patient. Okay, a man will want money right away, right? Not to say that men don't commit embezzlement. I do get plenty of those too, but it's at a lower rate. But a man will, if he wants money, he's gonna run out and steal a car and then go sell it, or he's gonna go stick a gun in someone's face and take money that way. Okay, we tend to not be very patient. We want to get stuff done quick with little to no fuss. Women tend to be very patient, and I'm going to get smacked around for this, but they're very intelligent. Of course they're intelligent, but even more than us sometimes, I think, because the way they commit the crime is very thoughtful in terms of taking the time to put the mechanisms in place to commit the embezzlement. I've been really impressed over the years. And most often, these women aren't criminal masterminds per se. They're regular people. So first of all, most often, in my experience, most of our embezzlement suspects for companies have been women. Like I said, for no other reason other than they tend to have more patience and will really spend the time to put this thing together. The other thing I found in all the years I've done this is that it's never that employee you think. So I'll have companies, company owners, office managers, whoever they are, report an embezzlement to me and say, someone's stealing money from me. I think it's Joe. I think it's Sally. I could almost every time tell them, no, I don't think it's Joe or Sally. It's going to be the person you least expect every single time. So you're looking at this disgruntled person that is always mad and is always, telling you how unhappy they are, and they treat you with disrespect, whatever it is. You're going to tend to focus on that employee, where the employee you should be focusing on is the one who is the most trusted employee. That person that is your best employee. The one that says, hey boss, you know what? I know you and the wife want to get away this weekend. If you need someone to watch the house, watch the dog, watch the kids, I'm your man or woman. Hey, you need to have this errand run, I'll take care of that. Almost exclusively, embezzlement suspects tend to be this person. So keep that in mind. Think about that. Trust, but be vigilant. Trust, but be vigilant is what we always want people to think about in terms of controlling their business. Why do people commit embezzlement? Over the years, again, this is just my personal experience, and I've handled a lot of embezzlement cases. Most often, it's compulsive shopping, of all things, compulsive spending. We think of people committing embezzlement to gamble. Yeah, it does happen, but at a much smaller percent. Drugs. Yeah, it happens, but very rarely. Compulsive shopping, what I call keeping up with the Joneses. Most embezzlement suspects have this thing where they want people to see them as something they really aren't. Oh, look at this. I have this nice car. I have this. I have that. I always bring up a case. I worked here for our police department's union, the RPOA. Our office manager was stealing. It's in the paper, so it's public information. But our office manager was stealing from us. We were paying for her Corvette. We were paying for her insurance, extravagant trips. Again, keeping up with the Joneses, trying to show everybody, oh, look at me. I'm so successful, and you should like me and respect me. So it's almost like a compulsive disorder. And this is most often what I see when people are stealing from businesses or companies. Now, that's not to say that they may not have some sort of crisis. Yeah, people will say, oh, I have a sick mom, my wife's sick, and all of that. But I'll be honest with you, most often it's an excuse. It's something they hope will mitigate the crime. But like I said, it just seems that they want to show off. Okay, that's really what it comes down to. What are some ways that companies can help prevent embezzlement? Well, I know it's a pain, I know it's a hassle, but it's business, right? We got to run it like a business. Trust, but be vigilant. So what I'm saying is your checks, your company checks, for example, are they one-signer checks? Are they one-signer checks where maybe an office manager is the person who signs? Or, gosh forbid, the CEO or the company owner is the only signer. But what he or she does is gets about 10 checks at a time and signs them and leaves the payee information blank. That is such a big no-no, guys. Don't do that. I don't even know that the bank would be responsible for repaying your money or insurance companies if you have that, if you do something that careless. So if you have one-signer checks, I would really push you, try to convince you to get two-signer checks. And don't have the two people in the same darn, division or unit or whatever it may be. So maybe have your treasurer or your accountant be one signer, and then have an unrelated person to them be the second signer. A board of directors, maybe one of the board members can be one signer, and your treasurer could be the other signer. Maybe the office manager can be one signer, and this other person the other. So that will help alleviate some of the check issues. Take it a step further. Who receives the bank statements? It shouldn't just be one person. We should be getting duplicates. We should be having the bank. I know it's a pain for the bank, but even if you have to pay a little bit more for the service, hey bank, I'd like you to send a statement to this person, my treasurer, but I also want a statement too. That way we could take a look at the canceled checks. Who are they going to? What are we paying? Wait a minute, why am I paying for Carnival Cruise Lines or something like that, a trip? That is not something we pay for. So you want to investigate that further. As well with your credit cards. So if you have credit cards with your business or organization, you should make sure that someone else is seeing the statements, not just that one person, not just the office manager, not just the accountant. You need to have many checks and balances. So make sure that another responsible person, not connected to the first person, is double checking those statements. And really, that's it. Audits are important. You should have periodic audits of your books and monies, just to make sure. And if you do ever have that employee that's in charge of the money that's saying things like, look, I got it, I take care of it, I don't want you guys involved. If you look at these things, you're going to be confused, you won't understand it. If they say things like, I don't want you messing with it, you'll mess up my system. Those are warning signs, guys, and you should dig deeper, especially if you're the company owner or in some way like an executive officer. These are the best ways to stop embezzlement. Again, and that's 25 years of being a cop, 18 years of being a fraud detective. I'm telling you, just some of these simple little steps will help you quite a bit. So anyhow, that's just the basic information I wanted to provide you for embezzlement. Hope you find it helpful, and thank you very much.